let us do the trilateral piece on the Tuesday. She was through on Friday. And here it is. Now, we ain't got no megaphone here, so you got to listen, hear this the best I can turn it up.
In recent days, we've heard a lot about groups that see the U.S. government as the enemy. But that's not the only enemy they see. Even more suspect is a private group called the Trilateral Commission. It's an exclusive club of business leaders, scholars, and politicians. They meet once a year to discuss world problems. But as Anthony Mason reports, some feel the group's agenda is far more sinister.
In Copenhagen, Denmark, late last month, an exclusive club held its annual meeting. David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger are among its some 300 influential members. But some on the far right say this was more than a meeting. They see it as part of a conspiracy to control the world by a secret society called the Trilateral Commission.
The conspiracy is to have a global government in which the elite will control the entire world, and the unwashed multitudes will have a higher loyalty to the world government than to their own provinces, such as the United States.
Jim Tucker spreads this conspiracy theory in Spotlight, the newspaper of the right-wing Liberty Lobby. He is not alone. Read Pat Robertson in his book, The New World Order. A single thread runs from the White House to the State Department to the Trilateral Commission. There must be a new world order and a world elite in charge of it all.
That's right.
Springs, Robertson writes, from the depth of something that is evil.
Yes.
It's scary.
Even in rural Michigan, in the ranks of the so-called militia, they now believe in the global elite.
The more people that find out what's going on, the longer it's going to take them to come into the New World Order and their complete takeover by the banks.
It's a rallying cry that spread across the far right. The United Nations would take over America. The Trilateral Commission would control the world. Just look at its membership, they say. Current and former members include Presidents Clinton, Bush, and Carter. Names like Brzezinski, Christopher, Kissinger, and Schultz. And top executives of ITT, Xerox, Exxon, and Nations Bank.
Well, there are certainly folks there with pretty broad responsibilities.
Charles Heck, North American director, says the Trilateral Commission is hardly secret. You can find it in the phone book. Subscribe to its magazines. It was founded to promote global cooperation.
But this notion of what is happening here is a very misguided notion.
The Trilateral Commission is not a conspiracy running the world,
But author Holly Sklar sees the conspiracy theory gaining momentum.
I think a lot of people, whether it's in the militia movement or the right in general, are just desperately looking for answers. And unfortunately, oftentimes people latch on to the most simplistic answers they're given.
They are powerful leaders, but the conspiracy theory that surrounds them may be becoming dangerously influential itself. Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
And that's part of our world tonight. Tomorrow on CBS This Morning, all the latest on the
Now, they reread that the next morning with Paul
Thank you for
Azan.
joining us. Dan and I will be back tomorrow night.
No, you won't. It's historic. We used the regular Washington Reporter for the CBS. Now, this is a little bit when Brother Coakley got started years ago. Brother Coakley got started years ago talking about the Trilateral Commission and stuff. You don't want to see this, Brother Loud. Says Brother Coakley, when he gonna get fired and stuff, a lot of things going on here. Things, oh yeah, that's the day I was fired. That's the night I was fired. That was a couple of days after. This is a TV special called The Coakley Affair. And it's a group of white people sitting around. This show, Devil's Nightline was on opposite it. It beat Nightline 2-1. Of course, you know, eventually you all saw me do that thing on Crossfire. This was in May. Crossfire was in August. I've been persona non grata in the media since then. So you can't even mention my name in the media. This is the head of the ADL in Chicago. This is Reverend Sampson, whose church I was at last Saturday night. I wouldn't let him show this part in the church because he had some Jerry curls on. He got short haircut this year. He apologized for never having been to a lecture, misdone his hair. This is a real jerk here. Michael Coulson. Any of them can't have Coakley at Howard, can't have Coakley on WOL, can't have Coakley. I had the News Dimensions guy in my lecture the other night. I asked him why was he keep putting Armstrong Williams on the cover of his newspaper. And he looked right up and he said, because he paid. And I went, ooh, when does a black man stop a wrong man? Why is money the only reason? Here we go at the little Coakley special. This is going to lead into it for you. This is the press secretary. This is the Tim Evans, who was the financial committee chairman under Harold Washington. Only wish you had a microphone, you could hit us a little better. Of course, they were going to have us on here tonight. So why we could have used it?
With the knowledge that we have the vision to move this city.
We have one tonight to show
Chicago
the
has been plagued by this kind of racial division forever, and in fact, this isn't a new revelation about Chicago. It's a continuation of the old revelation.
Well, it's an exacerbation of a syndrome that should never have taken place here. And clearly, it should not have come from the mayor's office in this particular instance.
Gentlemen, we are out of time for this segment. We do have Mr. Michael Coulson of the Anti-Defamation League, who was a participant in that original meeting that Mr. Anderson talked about a moment ago, in which they apparently gave the mayor a list of blacks in Chicago who they viewed might be anti-Semitic. We'll talk about that when we continue in just a moment.
Except right now, we're going to change plans a bit because we understand that Mr. Coakley, who we earlier thought would not be talking with us, has decided to be standing by live with Art Norman. Art, can you hear us?
Yes, we can, Carol, and Mr. Coakley has been listening to the beginning of the program tonight.
I used to have clothes then. Y'all didn't know me when I dressed up.
I didn't hear what Monroe said, and I didn't hear what Tim said, but I would just say to both of them on their station, that doesn't belong to us, that we're bringing the discussion about ourselves into our community. They want to know what we're going to do next. We're going to take Tim and Monroe and the political officials and our religious leaders and the community people that came out here tonight, and we're going to come back in our own community, and we're going to have a long talk. We need to talk, Tim Evans. This struggle that we're involved in, Tim Evans, is bigger than politics. And I've covered your back before, and you've covered me. It got nothing to do with political opportunity. So within our community, we're going to bring our dialogue back home. Monroe Anderson, I told the people here tonight I did not appreciate you calling me a gopher. And I said it was an embarrassment to my wife and my children who have had to put up with the pain that I've had to suffer of being a part of this community. And that upon my back, Monroe, I showed the people my back. Where I suffered the scars of helping bring in that government that Gene Sawyer has so that you could work in it. You got to learn how to stick with me, Monroe. You're going to need me one day. Tim, you're going to need me one day. I'll be there for you. Bring the discussion home to our community. That's what we're going to do next. Thank you.
Gerald, apparently Mr. Coakley is not going to say respond.
Let's talk about this for a second.
Mr. Coakley did it as he wanted to do it. And I know how to use the media, not be on the media. That's right. But now watch this.
Well, what he doesn't seem to understand is that his remarks were inappropriate.
Here's a man who paid my electric bill every year, every month for 2 years before I was fired. The mayor, who was the mayor Sawyer, paid my rent. This Tim Evans paid my gas bill and my electric bill. But when the white man came and said, Coakley, I never heard of him. Coakley, I'm not with him. I had to watch people who was with me, whose back I covered, who covered my back, stand up and repudiate me in the public like they didn't know me.
Anywhere.
Mr. Anderson, you seem to be portrayed by Mr. Coakley as a traitor in this cause.
Well, what Mr. Coakley has to say.
He was gay. He slept with a guy named Irwin France, who was head of the Boulay, who was the other special assistant to the mayor with me. He just died of AIDS 3 weeks ago. So, nigga, you ain't gonna be around too much longer. Because that was your girlfriend. See, God got away.
And have a much better relationship in the future.
And is there a prolonged and difficult problem here between blacks and Jews in Chicago?
There is a...
He ain't got no problem. Now I want to lead you up to a little, they go through a little bow, oh, stop, see where to stop at. I should have learned to stop it. Fall still. Fall still. Last button. I'm side, inside, down, right, stop, where? Right. There. Right. Oh, over there. There we go. Go! This ain't stop the election. Black man got all that strength. See what black men just waiting to do? White people? That's what they gonna be. They're on the top of everything. But their stability is really very weak. They just look real strong. All you gotta do is just push them over and they'll fall on up, but you gotta get them up top good. Thank you, Baba, for that lesson. Then we're gonna knock them over, that's right. Let them get up.
In fact, it continues to accentuate.
Before we knock them over.
Great gulf between
Now, where we
black.
go? I just went backwards and forward. Let me actually go backwards. I gotta show you that to fire me effectively, they had to put me in line with the most stuff. So they threw me in with some other racial stuff that had happened at that moment.
I believe it is the first block that hopefully remarks to the mayor that we understand.
That's the head of the Human Relations Commission. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Camp Hannah, there we go. So when Coakley just comes on the heels, since these other people got fired, it was fair Coakley getting fired.
One individual generated an outcry in the black or the Jewish community. In January of this year, CBS sports broadcaster Jimmy the Greek Snyder was fired within days of making remarks about the physical differences between black and white players.
The black is a better athlete to begin with because he's been bred to be that way because of his high thighs and big thighs that goes up into his back.
In 1987, Dodger Vice President Al Campana lost his job for calling blacks unqualified to be team managers.
I truly believe that they may not have some of the necessities to be, let's say, a field manager. Against Jackson! I'm against Jackson!
During the 1984 presidential campaign, Reverend Jesse Jackson was denounced for labeling Jews as Heinees and the city of New York as Heine Town. He later apologized.
Free blacks and Jews must march together. Let us at least try to do so again.
And Nation of Islam leader Minister Louis Farrakhan drew the ire of many after publicly calling Adolf Hitler a great man.
Call him wickedly great.
Reacting to the controversy and the views of Stephen Coakley, outgoing CHA Executive Director B. Herbert Martin.
Now, B. Herbert Martin was the pastor's minister, was the mayor of Washington's minister, but the important thing was he was getting ready to head the Human Relations Commission. The Human Relations Commission is the 5 races. Now, some of y'all standing up, I know some people behind y'all can't see, because y'all standing right up in the middle there. Bobby, you don't care. Yeah, you gotta maybe take that, you're a little taller than some of the people. Is y'all see all right behind the brother? All right, thank you then. All right, Bobby, then you're all right, because if they just hearing it, they don't want to see it. I'm sorry. Al Sampson raised the question of how could the deputy press secretary, having been a woman in the Weathermen, bombed 4 hunkies at the University of Wisconsin, got her job, but Coakley got to lose his.
That's the first thing that happened here. And he waited too long to act. He should have done it. It probably would have been a column about that big in ink if he had done it when the Anti-Defamation League brought it to his attention.
Told him to.
It probably would not have grown to this proportion.
Good.
Now, all factions, including the more militant factions and strident voices, are being heard, getting their views known. Second thing he has done, he has given ammunition to his enemies. He can now be pictured as a mayor who is weak and indecisive and can't make that tough political decision. Some of the people are already starting to say government was paralyzed over this issue.
Will it be possible to separate
Now you're going to see the mayor
the political part of this fight
show
from the basic
standing up with all these people behind him to fire me like the United Nations or
Because I
something.
think that his adversary...
Because they thought it was going to be a riot in Chicago if they didn't fire me the right way.
He had those leaders with him today.
Just one guy.
He came here too. Farrakhan
This is
didn't
Farrakhan hugging Brother Coakley.
his defense that followed.
May 9th, 1988. What did Steve do? What did he do?
The controversy over Stephen Coakley is centered around his remarks in public lectures, variously interpreted as anti-Semitic, anti-Italian, anti-Hispanic, and anti-white. Though Reverend Jesse Jackson of the late Harold Washington have also been objects of his criticism.
I have dismissed Steve Coakley from my list.
Stop TV live at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
But only after Coakley's remarks have made
Now
headlines.
this guy right over here,
Only after lawyers would be
Paul. See this guy right there? That's the U.S. attorney that worked on the case that killed Fred Hampton and Mark Clark. He became the chief counsel for the mayor and the chief counsel for Governor Edgar, just resigned about 3 months ago. He can stand behind the mayor to fire me, having helped led the attack on killing them 2 brothers. Just to go to show you what that. The only politician to defend me was Gus Savage. What did they do? They went out and put a Rhodes Scholar on Gus Savage and defeated him for re-election. Now they done busted the Rhodes Scholar for sleeping with 14-year-old women.
Sessions was drawn into the Copley controversy. For the Reverend B. Herbert Martin was quoted last week as saying that some of Copley's remarks had the ring of truth.
See, he couldn't have the spy thing and be loyal to Copley. Then how you going to spy on something that Copley your buddy?
A news threat today from a black state representative.
Only one.
I think that the black community should take a serious look at boycotting the entire labor Jews cell in the city.
Tonight from Reverend Farrakhan, a challenge to Copley's accusers.
And I know if he says it, at least I believe he got the stuff to back it up.
Nobody want to hear that part.
You're so interested in dogging him, I hope you'll be as interested now to come and find out what proof he has of the assertion that he
Now they all looking back at the press saying, yeah, that's right.
This is the 28th ward where Ed Smith is the alderman.
You can find this tape in the collection, May 9th, 1988.
And repair
The defense of Wallace Davis was turned into the Steve Copley route.
announced a fiery defense of Stephen Copley here in a West Side church. Farrakhan arrived
Don't say I got on straight tie.
enthusiastically greeted by several
I got on both
to
sides.
show their support for former Alderman Wallace Davis. Copley had arrived earlier, once again wearing the thin bow tie favored by Farrakhan.
Which is what I wore every day in the mayor's office on the boat jack.
Criticized the mayor, who was forced to fire him when he refused to resign.
I have an honest relationship between people of all races and religions because maybe we've been a little dishonest in the past. And this might be a time that we could really lay all our cards on the table and see if we can get over some of our pathology.
The mayor was also preaching unity today when he spoke with Andy Shaw at City
Oh,
Hall.
brother man was, you just seen him 7 years later. But
And I'll continue that with you.
I took him to Minister Farrakhan's house. I took him all over the black community.
Militaristic style linked the indictment of blacks by
He
Operation
didn't want to do it, but they had crime on him.
Jackson and the firing of Stephen Copley in what he called a conspiracy against black election officials. He saved his toughest criticism for black leaders.
black politicians said, fire him. Fire him. See, it sounded to me like Judas saying, crucify him. Crucify him. What is his crime? Well, he's a racist. He's a bigot. Shut your damn mouth. Who the hell are you to call a black man a racist when the blood of the black man dripping from your head?
Y'all didn't know it. Y'all didn't know it.
Saying he had something to say to Judas.
Y'all didn't know it.
Well, he's a racist. He's a bigot. Shut your damn mouth. Who the hell are you to call a black man a racist when the blood of the black man dripping from your head?
Minister Farrakhan is still speaking now here on the West Side.
Y'all didn't know me 7 years ago. Y'all didn't know why I can't be on nothing. See, when WOL put me on something, they say he's been on 5 years now. What are you doing putting him on something? WEA, all the things we've been kicked out of. Who would call Kurt Smoke all the ones that exercised me out of office?
As a researcher, and he'll save him $1,000 a month to continue his work. Reporting live from the West Side, I'm Thomas, at the 10 o'clock news.
Then we're going to have more problems. Steve Copley himself is doing into our regions
I did them all over the place. Did them here, did them there. But you didn't know me then. And the point I raised to that is that we were in far deeper on the white man long before we ever got here. So what happens, I come to D.C., go into Howard, 500 people packed in there, go over to Baba Zulu place, 500 people packed in there. Everywhere we go, them first year and a half, 1,000 people packed in Blackburn. Even Samuel Yeti was there that night, talking about the choice to come to pay tribute to Brother Copley. But all of a sudden, the intelligence community in Baltimore and D.C., with the State Department, the World Bank, the IMF, the Treasury Department, the presidency, decided that couldn't no brother thinking like this be left with all these lambs so close to the devil. So all of a sudden they cut into everything I was doing. We went to New York, parked our cars on the street, came out there and stripped me of all my personal possessions. Stole my stuff, after we had been told to leave our stuff in the trunk, come right out until the trunk is gone. Everything. First went to New York, they said Brother Coakley couldn't come nowhere in New York. Alameda Brass said, we don't want him up here, he's a troublemaker. Supposed to go on WLIB, y'all think that's the blackest station in New York. But they blocked Brother Coakley from LIB because Percy Sutton got a call from Dinkins. Dinkins didn't want Farrakhan to have a million-man march there so he could win the election. Oh. Check. And so a city with 82% Democrats, he lost 51 to 49. He kept Minister Farrakhan out of the Jacob Javits Center to give him a chance to win, lose to the Hunky. And now the Hunky went up there and broke down 125th Street in Harlem and busted up the vendors. All over the country, the mayors are busting up the vendors. Black economics. The black economics was stronger than what the IRS can keep up with. So they had to bust into black economics. Because they found out having starved the black community, it was still living, still eating. That's something they wanted you to beg the white man. Let me see here. Something else on this cake. I'm supposed to do y'all. Oh yeah, that's coming up. Brother asked about that guy in Virginia forgiving all them white people. Oh, it's this guy. There we go. So all them years later, that was 88, 1990, we found the Boule. Every city in this country know about the Boule. And we did it without banks. A revolution without banking. And never took a step back. This is your Aruma Control Center. I wonder how many people are going to call it tonight. A service of the Community Relations Commission. To stop a rumor, get the facts. Rumor Control Center. A service of the Community Relations Council. This is a rumor. A rumor goes halfway around the world before the truth gets started. This is the Kurt Smoke thing. Then it says here, very cleverly, the Rumor Control Center is not an arm of the police department. The Rumor Control Center is an important component of the city's civil emergency plan. In the event of any civil emergency, the rumor control facilities are greatly expanded and tied into the Civil Defense Disaster Control Center. FEMA. So I highly recommend you get that tape back there called FEMA.
And Brother Steve.
Yes.
The man who's in charge is for FEMA, or who was the man who in charge of FEMA for Baltimore and the Maryland region, happened to be George McKinney, Boule.
George, of course, it would take that type of guy to be that type of man.
But Brother Steve,
yes.
What it also shows is that people have to understand, especially in the black community, that the whites already know because of the basic battle strategy is that the reason why you have to cool down people in D.C. and Baltimore is because if anybody's going to change things, no one from California is going to come from California and go kick somebody in Washington in the fight. It's going to be somebody here kicking you in the back and kicking everybody else in the fight with my thing.
And who taught you that? You. All right. So why'd you give me a chance to teach it to you again? Brother Coakley took the concept of the Boule and turned it into something called the trial of the oath tape. Never in our community have we ever thought seriously about those who took an oath on behalf of someone, and the fact that they may have taken an oath in a way that would make loyalty to the black community secondary to their loyalty to their Greek society. And I ain't going to do the demonstration, but you all know I went all over the country and asked those Greeks in the audience to come up and give Brother Coakley that secret handshake. And you know that they showed that they couldn't give Brother Coakley that secret handshake because they took an oath and they were afraid of death or retaliation. Afraid of death or retaliation for revealing that oath. Therefore, we found out that there was more loyalty distributed around our community to other things other than ourselves, And we pray and hope for the day we had a power to make some people afraid to do against the black thing. So we remember that the lawyers take an oath to protect the Constitution, doctors take an oath to sell surgery and not use health things. What's your mother's maiden name? How many of y'all remember seeing Bill Cosby using the word boule to open them secret chambers? Do you think I better show it to you now?
Yeah. I think
you want to
so,
see it?
Yeah.
I only was going to show it. How many of y'all saw it already? How many of y'all wanted me to show it? Okay, the majority wins. This is from the movie They Spy. Of course, it was really called I Spy, but we know what they really meant. This is about a white man, Robert Culp, and a black man. This is the lead-in to the remake of the movie I Spy. Hey, don't forget I'm going to raffle off a videotape that I did kind of cut a hole in the fence. Who else needs a raffle ticket? Raffle tickets are $1. $1 come around if you do.
Is back tonight in the role that made him a star. Till his death, with his number one partner, this time with a two-way agents, with Kim. Some things have changed. They're happy, some things haven't. That is not happy. Next.
Translated, the barber shop is by the river. The barber has a red pencil box. The barber's wife has drowned. I'm going to take your hat off. So we can see from Arnold's haircut that he does not like his barber. However, he's a hell of a quarterback.
Here he is now. It's your daughter.
Oh, what you want, money?
Don't tell me those things.
All you women to stay together. Yes. Well, how you doing, Nicole? You know, I love you very much, and you owe me a letter. Uh-huh. No, you're not. No. Look, we'll talk about this another time, okay? Okay. Get me a plane ticket to Washington, D.C., please.
Sometime soon?
Now.
Now watch him go lie to his wife about why he's leaving, which is something an oath taker would do.
Daddy, where on earth are you going?
Washington.
When? Now? Why?
Well, there's this conference, dear, that I promised I would be at, and I forgot. And it's, this morning it starts, and I'm late.
What kind of conference?
It's French professors. They're changing the language.
They're changing French?
The forces of linguistic idiocy.
Oh.
I'm going to make a speech.
Well, Dr. Campbell went to Margaret Westby. They were coming to dinner tonight.
You eat too much anyway.
Hey, Ma, come on up here with Daddy. Steve.
Right here.
Go up there and get your sister. There's a sister in the back, I think, wants guy who went around everywhere trying to tell you that what the white man had in store for us was the recolonization of Africa, coming not out of the Ku Klux Klan, but out of the New York Times. Colonialism is back, and not a moment too soon. But we stood in Rome to impress upon the Africans, many times in the African clothes, but don't have the desire to protect the African society. Newsweek goes, what color is black? I think he has a seat right there. Newt Gingrich say he and the boys are colorblind. Then they go to Council on Foreign Relations in January, February, talking about a new colonialism.
Showing the picture,
showing a picture of Africa with vultures sitting on top of it. It's America asking Europe which one should go back and take over Africa because it can't control itself. Then the movie Stargate using the symbol, a triangle within a circle. Watch that wherever you see it. It's on the dollar bill, the triangle in the circle. It's symbolic of something. Then in Vegas, they got the Luxor. Now he's getting ready to get into the secret chamber of the spy system. Listen carefully.
Roland Simon,
Take leave.
don't breathe on me.
Step up to the control center, please. Right hand on the illuminated sensor, please.
Right hand on the illuminated sensor.
Thank you.
Field operations staff, like a boule.
Name, please.
Well, if the chromosome in the genetic code is correct, why do I need my mother's maiden name?
That is not your mother's maiden name.
Boulay.
Identity confirmed.
Thank you.
No, they ain't get it wrong.
What's your mother's maiden name?
Boulay.
And what does that do? That opens up the secret chamber where the spy white man sits. It's like Friday catching up with Caruso.
The word boule itself means advisor to the king.
Now, let me tell you this. There's a couple of stories I need to run past you quick. There's an article out in the latest Prince Strike. The Scottish Rite magazine, here's one copy of a Scottish Rite magazine in the February 1995 issue of the Scottish Rite. They get this out at the House of the Mother Supreme down there in D.C. on 16th Street. In the February issue, there's a story in there about Prince Hall Masonry. And it says that after all these years of pissing all over the Prince Hall Masons, that the white Scottish Rite boys were considering merging with the Prince Hall Masons. And it said that on December 14th, 1994, the White Scottish Rite Grand Lodge of England voted the Prince Hall Mother Lodge of Massachusetts, under which all Prince Hall lodges are constituted, that after the date December 14th, 94, that all Prince Hall lodges were recognized as duly constituted and recognized. The Grand Lodge of Canada recognizes the Prince Hall lodges as duly constituted and recognized. And the story was about how the white Masons in America need to give prime consideration to merging in with the Prince Hall Masons. And my message is to the Prince Hall Masons, after all these years, of being pissed on by the hunky. Let me remind you what Albert Pike said about white people. He says that the Albert Pike writing of the Aryans, who peopled the earth about 10,000 years ago, he said, they were the white men, the superior race in intellect, manliness, the governing race of the world, the conquering race of all other nations. So I suggest to the Prince Hall brothers not to merge in with the white boy Scottish Rite Lodges because they want to use you to trace themselves back to Kemet where their skin color won't allow it. This particular issue of the Scottish Rite magazine gives tribute to Dave, the head of Wendy's. You see that picture? That's Dave there. You see on that commercial. And the interesting thing, what's the difference between Wendy's hamburgers and McDonald's?
One is square.
Dave is on the square. Are they still out there? Anyway. Now, also, I have a story up here. It came out of a recent issue of the Washington Jewish Weekly. And that story was about the Hebrew Israelite community in Dimona, who will be accepted as citizens in 1997, but not as Jews. And the point of the story was the white Jewish community, the fake Jewish ones, were bragging about the right of getting them to assimilate while repudiating the chosen people connection. And I tell the Prince Hall boys what I tell the Hebrew Israelite boys. You don't have the right to repudiate your connections to the chosen people just to get an easement with the white man. That you don't represent all black people and don't have the right to give these God-given birth things up. And just like I want to show you this black man that accepts the apology of all those hateful white people, that he don't have the right to accept the white people's apology. I'm going to show him standing up at a meeting. Boy, that guy's ugly. Show you him standing up at a meeting, repudiating, accepting the apology of all. Your stomach you're gonna go yuck when you see this. That he would stand up and accept the apology of all these white people. And you know you're still suffering, and you ain't willing to give them nothing. But it only takes one Negro. If it's Armstrong Williams bringing Strom Thurmond to a meeting and stand him up at the Urban League and making that a big old issue. Now I want to tell you this too. Who got that song out called Jew Me, Sue Me? Who got that song out, They Don't Really Care About Us? I got a call from Neverland. Seems as though old boy is sick and tired of white people pissing all over him, and somehow he got a hold of some Coakley tape and asked me if on my next trip to California I'd come to Neverland, he'd like to put some bank in my revolution. You can see why the guns start appearing at my doorstep, because that's the only thing we ain't never had. We ain't never been out in the land of Oz looking for courage. We ain't never walked around the land of Oz looking for a heart.
Come on, brother.
We ain't never known where home was.
Come on, brother.
Now we might get some bank. But I've been promised bank before. So I take it like I take all other possibilities. I see it when I see it. But I know the boy is crying. The boy is mad. The boy is confused. He heard me talking them tapes about Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, and Magic Johnson. And how they put them three MJs down. And if you look up, here come back Michael Jordan. Even now leading the brothers fight to bust up the Players Union.
That's right.
Here come Magic Johnson coming back with the Lakers next year. Here comes Michael Jackson I saw his mother and father at Savior's Day. I know Latoya said in her book that Michael Jackson and the daddy hate Jewish people. God bless the boy. And God knows I done talked about him like a dog, because cutting his nose and other things sows the seeds of inferiority in our children. They get confused when they see that. But he even heard the critical parts of the tape. And I was told that Michael Jackson is to be used to take the information and put it into songs. And make 80,000 white kids dance to it, to their own destruction. I remember when Richard Pryor had a TV show, and one of the skits was called Black Death. And he was in a hood, he was playing the guitar. And little white kids was dancing, and smoke was coming out the guitar. And they kept dancing and breathing and just fell out. And he lifted his hood off and said, Black Death. It was hidden in a song. Here's about the Jewish rabbi who just got arrested in L.A. for fondling a 3-year-old child on the airplane. And you'll see when you get to see it, that is in the Talmud, that it's okay to rape a 3-year-old child. It's okay to have sex with minors if you're a Jewish rabbi. It's in the book.
That's right.
And you're going to see that in a second, but first you got to see this Negro at the Baptist convention. Who got the money? Okay. Now, Michael Jackson ain't showed up yet. So, when we pass the hat for Brother Coakley, and we're going to pass the hat for Brother Lyle and his family, if Michael Jackson never show up, we ain't going to never stop doing what we're doing. If Michael Jackson or whoever don't show up, it don't never really make no difference, because we're going to do it anyway. And we don't know what the conditions are of such an agreement, so we ain't got no agreement. So right now, it's up to you. Only thing gonna keep me and my family going is you. Only thing gonna keep him and his family going is you. Now, they charge us more money for the place than could come in at the door. Because it costs higher when we coming the way we coming. Okay, I want you to count for me. Okay, and here we go. This is at the Baptist convention. You're getting ready to see this Negro stand up and forgive all the white people. I'm going to show you this to make you mad. While you still suffering, you need to know they already been forgiven. While another group swears they didn't do nothing. Which one is it? I told her, only one to bust Jesse Jackson. I never really been to a meeting, but I spoke at some. As he can't remember whether he was or was not at the Council on Foreign Relations. Set him up, climbed it all over the country. Did they show the black man standing up there yet? The pastor? Okay. Out of the Chicago Tribune, which is the main Chicago paper, and it's called 8-Man Experiment Revealed. Y'all heard that? This is from the Can I Cut a Hole in Your Fence lecture. I highly recommend that tape back there. No one bought one earlier. I think one or two did. It's an ass-kicking move. You can see why a week later they be wanting to shoot his brother Coakley. Here we go. Said the church has sinned.
All in favor by all show of hands, Southern Baptist passed a resolution on all blacks and black for the church to raise its fast, including its support of slavery. The resolution says we ask for forgiveness from our African American acknowledging that our own healing is at stake. This is how the government will be proclaimed. And one of the pastors that was long overdue, it has been 150 years since the Baptist Church struck the issue of slavery. In 1845, many Southern Baptists feared and parishioners defended the right to own slaves.
Remember, the Jewish rabbi supported slavery. Said it was in the book.
For African Americans. To some, the Southern Church even came to be known as the denomination of the Ku Klux Klan. I think it's always good for those of us who have evolved to repent. Our church wasn't segregated out as it was a and we need to begin to do it for just 5% of the 16 million Southern Baptists are black. The leading Gary Cross, who was elected second vice president, is
Y'all better get that nigga name. What's his name? Let me go back. You need to see him again. Look at it. Name for two niggas in the whole thing. Then they go right to OJ. See how they do that shit? Now watch him now. Watch him now. Oh, he's a rising star of the church.
Reverend Gary Cross, who was elected second vice president, responded to the passage of the resolution. We accept your apology. We extend you our
in the name of his Lord, Savior. Now the word Lord is Jesus. Lord really means equal. Lord Jesus Christ. Lord Rothschild. Lord Baltimore. Lord Calvert. The word Hillel means devil. And that's the Jewish community organization that sits on the college campus. The Hillel House. Watch this piece about the Jewish rabbi. Can you hear it? In LA, you need to know about this. Rabbis messing with 3-year-old girls. They looked up his record. He had already been accused of it and charged in 91. Could he do it? He already done it. And convicted. And convicted. So this was his second offense. What did he say? Tell him what he said.
He didn't know what he was doing.
The rabbi said he involuntarily touched her. Huh? But then what you need to see this is, if you want to see this part about how it fits in the Talmud, that you can mess with, it's a high Jewish honor to, now think about Woody Allen. I only wish you could hear it better.
It's such a
case of can I cut a hole in your fence? And the point of it was that they say if you have sex with a 3-year-old, that as she gets older, she gains her virginity back. Now, you know, I used to do a dialogue about virgin means haven't done it how many times? None. Not once, and years later it was forgiven, or I'm a vegetarian, I only eat chicken. Know that thing we do?
Right.
And so the suggestion is that the point to all of that is that there was a way for religion to allow for deviation and still one be good with God. The Jewish community got the Day of Atonement. They jam you all year long, and on one day they ask for forgiveness. And so just like the Catholics got confession. Jam you all week long, and on Saturday, the priest give them a couple of Our Fathers and Hail Marys, and they all straight again, ready to jam you again come Monday. We, of course, are a loving people. We are worried about hurting anybody, except for each other. So that's part of that thing I was telling you earlier about. You don't hear much about white people getting hurt in Baltimore, no more than you don't hear much about white people getting hurt in D.C. When them 2-3 congressional aides got hurt, they eventually found out white men had shot them. But it wasn't until after they blamed it on the black man. You know, that was the old game. They getting a little exposed on that blame it on the black man move. The new president of Howard University was from the State University of New York or Albany, where one of the white female students came out and said she was raped by a black man. He searched the rooms of all the black students looking for the rapist. But she eventually admitted her father raped her, a white man. And he refused to even apologize to the black students for doing it. So he got promoted to Howard University, having spent the last 12 summers in the state of Israel as a law professor at the University of Israel.
On that note, 23 mayors from Israel will be coming to Baltimore on the 23rd. Either the 19th or the 23rd.
Which is why we couldn't be at that first spot, because they said they was coming, and God knows couldn't no Coakley residue be left in the wall where the white mayors were coming and will be respected and treated better than you, the citizens that made it possible.
Excuse me, Brother Steve.
Yes,
matter of fact, in Smoke's address to the Trilateral Commission, he talked about the Klan community of Sandtown, Winchester, in that report.
That's very good work, brother. And of course, Smoke addressed the Trilateral Commission when they came to D.C. in '93. I couldn't get 5 people interested in going downtown. They had it all cordoned off. G7 met in downtown D.C. All the African leaders flew to Sierra Leone for the summit, flew right past the G7 World Bank IMF meeting, which was in D.C. But then they low-profiled it after Oklahoma bombing because they didn't want no high-profile whites to come down there and bomb them other whites. Now, the part of the lecture I haven't finished yet is entitled The Plot. Well, we're going to look a little bit into this Oklahoma bombing because I want to share with you white-on-white aggression. There's some things that came out. You know, nice little articles like this. Americans have met the enemy and he is us. That old white-on-white thing, the snake getting bitten by his own tail, which is very important for us. A dialogue about how the white militias got armored car vehicles. I found out that these white boys are having military museums. If you have a military museum, you have the right to receive Army surplus equipment. White boys are ditching the white boys tanks, air-to-ground missiles, satellite interceptors under the guise of military museums. There are 5 white boys around the country been getting all this, so I done applied for one myself. How many of you all would support my military museum? So you're right. So I'm going to stand in line and see if I can get some brothers to tip me some Army surplus material, because that's real important, to have you some Army surplus. And get it for free, just on the signature of someone on the inside. How many of you all saw that white boy steal that tank in San Diego? Then you see him shoot that white boy in the head. Didn't even ask him no questions. Lifted the top off that sucker and went, oh, wow. You never heard another word about it. But out there in California, his wife came out and said, well, he's in the militia. With the other white boys, we didn't stole a couple other tanks, didn't nobody bother us. How come Newt Gingrich and Bob Dole wouldn't get out there and repudiate the militia? I was repudiated by every black leader in America. I didn't even bomb nobody. At least that they knew of.
Tell them about the congressional hearing on the militia.
Why don't you just be cool a minute? And since he brought it up, how would they have could you imagine me and Brother Lyle and this brother sitting before the House of the Senate with the whole world watching us, letting us jack all off into the TV like that about who running the world? And then let one white boy sit with us and say, see, we ain't racist. But y'all probably didn't even see it, because I know being black is a busy occupation. It's just, they got us consumed with doing so many things to be ourselves that it's hard watching all of this stuff. So that's why you have to invest in someone to do it. Now, Brother Coakley getting ready to pass the hat for himself. I'm not finished, but my problem is that the longer I talk, the more people leave, the less I get for my work. So why should I wait? Because then I'm only going to hurt myself. Y'all don't want me here till midnight, and I stay till 3 a.m. But I'll only be passing the hat to 4 or 5 people, and so now I'm going to pass the hat for myself and my family. And if you want to write a check, do it. If you want to put in thousands of dollars, do that. Do this, and I'm going to do it quickly. We're also going to pass the hat for Brother Lyle. He was kind enough to allow me to go first. But I shouldn't be any better off because I went first, and I want you to do as well for him and his family as you do for me and mine. I know this tape will be available soon.
Very soon.
And I ain't finished talking yet, though, so it ain't time for you to leave. I'm just doing this to get it out of the way. I got a whole spew of stuff I got lined up here for you that I want to give you, but I just got to do this now to protect myself. Then we're going to pull this raffle, and so I'm going to do that right now, quick. Do what you can. Brother, I appreciate you, brother. Brother accepts whatever you can do. And I hate to even stop or pause to do this now. No, I'll do it. I'll do it. Anybody? Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you. Don't let me move too fast and miss anybody. Again, do what you can do. I appreciate you. Bob down here wrote a check. I appreciate you, brother, for doing that. Yes. Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate you very much. I appreciate you. All the good graces are behind whatever you give. This is a poor man's operation. But with a poor man's operation, we ain't done bad. We broke it down for you the formula for the SPOT system. What was the formula? Intention plus capability equal threat. I know all y'all don't know all the lessons. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you. Now all that talking, you have $1. Nah, this is a student. This is a brother student. There's a brother come all the way from California, Brother Umoja, who's now at Morgan State. I ain't been in Morgan State in a long time since Dick Gregory's son brought me there. Brother say he come all the way from California to go to J.P. Morgan College. He's gonna bring Brother Coakley back to Morgan State. He said, well, maybe we can't get on the campus. We had to do it off of the campus. I miss anybody up here? I get around to you, Donald. I appreciate you. I appreciate those of you who make the donation. No, this is for Brother Steve, Brother Lyle, who's coming. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you. Thank you for that $5 bill, brother. I appreciate you very much. Here you go, Brother Johnson.
Back this way, brother. Steve.
Bob, y'all just, I appreciate you, Bob. Okay, I got it. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm going to reach there. Look, you got $15 in there. I can give brother. Oh, yeah, I get it out of this bag. I get it out of here. Thank you all. Thank you, Bob, very much. Thank you, brother, very much. Don't be ashamed about what you put in. Oh, thank you, Bob. I appreciate you. I appreciate the support. And it's my honor to be your servant. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you. Now, I'm going to pass what you need back. Okay? I'm going to have the list go around to sign up for the Global 2000 committee. Remember, to go to a meeting, you must bring an article on the future. You cannot get in by buying your way in. You have to think your way in. And be prepared to teach the people about your article. And you must be that way about it. Everybody must be in a position to teach. Because you never know at what point in the game who and what's going to be standing to do the teaching. Brother, let me get you your chance. Yes. There's a alarm system in the building that and somebody coming out with some plugs because they ain't got that kind of power. Excuse me, 1 second, Bob. Get the check. Thank you, Bob. You got a good throw there. That's I appreciate you all support. I think I lost about 5 pounds being up here in Fraternal Brothers today. But anything that comes off of you ain't no good for you no way. So I appreciate that. The right to sweat from the people. I appreciate you all very much. Sister said last call for bean pies, and bean pies, I know we got some, and the carrot cake. And what else you got back here, sister? Got some shirts. I know my breath stinking. I know my breath is stinking. My teeth falling out. I got to be quiet. How many of you all be interested in that bomb book on the Boule and the New World Order? How many of you all be interested in seeing Brother Coakley's book? After Brother Coakley put this book out, there'll be no book after this book. And the reason I mention that is it takes me about 90 days to go away and finish it. So I'm getting ready to go out here to L.A., see if I can get me some 90 days worth of rent so that I can go away and finish it. And in the meantime, I'm going to get my teeth fixed and get this body rehab, because bodies don't last forever, so you got to tend to them. So y'all got to give me some time to go away and get my body squared away so I can live forever. But hopefully we'll win this thing. I don't want to be struggling forever. Thank you, sister. I appreciate you all very much. We want to win the struggle. Anybody out there? I'm sorry, somebody needed what? This is one of the few brothers, you'll see him on the Boule case, stand up, that came to the Boule convention. You see him walking across the line. I said, Brother Coakley, Brother Coakley. This brother, Brother David, and Brother Donald, some of the only brothers who came while we were right here in Baltimore. Anybody else I missed? While we were right here in Baltimore,
Talib,
very much, with the Boule convention. And I know we was on C-SPAN, we was at Howard for that Khaled, Coakley, Leonard Jeffries, Tony Martin thing. Also, a couple of nights before the Million Man March, we're going to be getting together again. Brother Khaled, Brother Coakley, Brother Jeffries, and Brother Tony Martin, to go back to that roundup that we had. Now this box is going around for Brother Lyle. Please do for the brother the best you can. And now I'm going to talk to you real quick while that bucket is rolling. Now, because, let me do it on this side. Let me do some rapid fire stuff for you. Watch these covers now. Cameraman, stick with me now. It's going to go fast. Divided we stand. This is U.S. News and World Report's cover just a couple of weeks ago. Remember, white-on-white aggression is a high level of our black liberation program. So anytime whites stand up and start talking in the public about how important it is that they are divided, we be always deep into picking up on that. Remember, cause white-on-white disunity at your job. Here's a little picture about the little white baby that was in the hands of the firemen that went all over the world. What was important was a white fireman, a white baby, and a white bomber. What is Newt Gingrich and Rush Limbaugh's role in setting the climate to make the bombing possible? If you watch Rush Limbaugh's show, he does not allow no talk about no trilateral, no talk against the one world order. On his radio show, he kicks people off for talking against Masons. It's strictly a Clinton thing. It's strictly a political thing. It's the limit to it. He's on 666 stations around the country. What's the conservative agenda? America and its discontent. This was a Washington Post story that appeared before the bombing, January 15th. Let me tell you this. Before the bombing in Oklahoma City, the Anti-Defamation League had come out and started in October and November were warning the citizens of Oklahoma that there was an excessively high influx of Iranians into the Oklahoma area, and in fact were priming them, telling them that there's likely to be terrorism activity here, and that's likely to come from the Iranians. Also, it was on CNN 2 Saturdays ago. How many of you all saw this? That the governor of Oklahoma's brother, the governor's name is Fred Keating, that his brother had wrote a book 2 years ago about the bombing of federal buildings in Oklahoma, and the main character was a white man named McVeigh.
That's right.
How many of y'all saw that?
What's the name of the book?
It was on CNN.
I heard it on the radio.
Huh?
I heard it on the radio.
Just wanted me to remind you again, I told you the first time you said it,
Yeah. What time is it now?
12.
Quarter after what?
12 hours.
After 10? Oh, okay, gotcha. Also, there came out a series of stories over repudiating the conspiracy. This one was in L.A. Plot, conspiracy theory, Pepper, U.S. past, and it starts, this is L.A. Times, May 29, 1995, and it talks a lot about how the Illuminati is still a theory that is kept public all these years since the 1700s. And this is the story about the armed vehicles. I was telling you about the white boys getting the armed vehicles. This is the Washington Post, Friday, May 5th, 95. And also, there have been a series of stories about how armed are these militias. This story here in the New York Times, increasingly extremism is heavily armed. New York Times, April 30th, 1995. A whole series of stories in the public eye on Posse Comitatus, in the Nation on the America's neo-Nazi movement, Time Magazine, How Dangerous Are They? LA Times, before the bombing, November 13th, 94, hardcore gun activists ready for a day when arms are needed. It's unclear how many such groups exist nationwide. Some simply lobby and pressure local governments, but others believe the only way to take back the government is through armed resistance. What happens when the white boy feels comfortable enough to try to overthrow the other white boy? What happens to the black people? For bombing suspects, looks aren't everything. In the past, you always knew they were black. Now the enemy is white. Now you can't look right at somebody and tell who it is. They're armed. Are they dangerous? The radical groups that hate the U.S. government and what they stand for. It's just, here's the story by the head of the Spotlight about the story I showed you on the Trilateral. Say they shot 20 minutes of footage but only showed 30 seconds of tape. He says, what happened to the rest of my tape? What happened to the rest of the information? This is the book on the founding of the Scottish Rite. Remember how when the Nation and the LaRoches tried to stop the statue down there at 1 Judiciary Square and the ADL wouldn't support it? Come to find out that one of the founding members of the House of the Mother Supreme and Scottish Rite Masonry is Rabbi Abraham, who's listed right here in the front of the book in a picture, giving honor. Says the 5 founders of the Mother Supreme Council, first meeting May 31st, 1801. In the foreground are the 5 founders, Dr. Isaac Auld, Rabbi Abraham Alexander, Colonel John Mitchell, Dr. Frederick Doucho, and Dr. James Moultrie. And it shows their picture here as the 5 founding members of the House of the Mother Supreme that was then in Charleston, South Carolina. Control Board urges D.C. to fire 2,000 people. Who's the head of the D.C. Control Board?
Arthur Bremer.
Arthur Bremer. What group is he in?
Boulay.
Boulay and Trilateral Commission. First black man on the Trilateral. First black man to be a governor of the Federal Reserve Bank under Lyndon Johnson.
And Council on Foreign Relations.
And Council on Foreign Relations. Well, Brother Lau, you got the donation box through there? Yes, sir. Okay. Now, we're being suggested that we run out of time. And Brother Coakley, of course, got a lot of more information to share with you. I need to make a point of the fact that I'll be speaking again in the Georgia Avenue Cafe July 25th. One of the things I would have wanted to share with you was a story in the final call. I want you to look carefully at a story that's in there with William Kunstler in it. This is something I need to show you. This is the original McVeigh. Get this camera shot of this real good. This is the original McVeigh that would not talk to anybody, would only give his name and serial number. This is the McVeigh that gives the exclusive for Newsweek magazine, which was unlikely because it's a Jewish magazine. Now you look at them 2 faces, and you got to tell me if they're the same guy. But I got a better picture in here of McVeigh. You tell me if this is the same McVeigh. The point of it is that there may be 2 McVeighs. Now, don't be worried about that. There was 2 Oswalds. And we had Oswald fightings all over the place. Are these 2 guys the same people?
No.
So what happened to the first McVeigh? Did McVeigh sound like he wanted to escape driving 100 miles an hour with a car with no license plate?
No.
With a gun strapped on him? Didn't even seem to be aware of it. Well, what's the word, Brother Lawrence? Say, was they up there when the air conditioners didn't work? Did they show up to bring the microphone? No, I guess not. Nobody ever show up unless it's for their side of the party. So, you finish in the back. Let me suggest to you all, some of who may have questions, that I'm going to pack my stuff up. Those of you all who want some tapes and other things that are available in the back, please, I need your support. Let me pull the raffle. I know y'all saying, pull the raffle, Steve. Pull the raffle. This is for the videotape. I only got, yes, you can do it. I only got, behind the one that I raffle off, I only have one more set left. That's $40. It's a 2-tape set called Can I Cut a Hole in Your Fence? But I know I have many of the audios back there, and I'm going to pull one of the audios too. The first one is the winner of the video, yes? Can you get one more ticket? Baba, you can give me your dollar. I'm going to get you the video anyway. You ain't got to worry about getting this video from me. Okay, yeah, I'll take the dollar. Oh, go ahead, sister. Give him the ticket. We'll put it up here. Maybe he'll win it.
And while the brothers getting his ticket, anyone interested in tonight's tape, 783-8220. For tonight's tape, 783-8220. 783-8220.
That's one version. Kind of like a King James version of the Bible and all that. Yeah, they go to Talmud and the Talmud and the other book, the Torah.
And while we're still here, before we get rushed out, let's all put our hands together for our brother's information that he did share.
Listen up. Up here in the front.
Brother, we're doing this voluntarily for you.
Oh, we appreciate you, brother.
I understand that, brother.
We paid $350 for this. I hope you get some of that.
No, we're not part of the struggle in that respect, brother. We're about to struggle here voluntarily.
We appreciate that very much. And there's enough of that to go around. No, I say that. It should be shared. And it went up from 99 to 350. And we was guaranteed microphones and air conditioners. We didn't get either one.
Well, there's Black Kids that you're going to supply books for you.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Up here will be the list for those who want to join up for Grassroots 2000. Especially put your name and phone number. You can put your address, but I want to be able to call you because it's easier to call you than to write you and tell you of the meeting. So that'll be up front. Brother here will hold the list. For those who want, you got $1 sitting on you there too, brother. Don't lose your money. That was for Brother Loudbox. You can just get some. Thank you, brother. That's for being honest like that. This is the winner of the video. Can I Cut a Hole in Your Fence? The last 3 numbers are
293. 293.
Brother Mike right here won it.
I need to say something about brother right here real quick. Brother Derek, who just won the video. It's the first brother to bring me back on Morgan State's campus to speak after I was arrested on that campus and kicked off. And so
you ain't been back since then either?
I've been back one time, and this brother was responsible for bringing me back.
Brother. That's good. That's fine. No, the single set one. The single one in the box. Look in the box. It's a single set one. Can I cut a hole in your fence? You see it? Okay. And this is for the audio tape. There were 44. Excuse me, I do this one. Oh yeah, you can do it. There were 44 raffles, and so I take no unfair advantage. The video's worth 30. We're gonna pull the audio. It's worth 12. This is for the audio. Can I cut a hole in your fence? Last 3 numbers.
284.
Brother man, all right. You got it. Okay. I thank you all very much. Please do the best you can to leave the building on time in respect to the brothers. But please, I need your support in the back for my tape. Brother man down here in the front will have the list for those who want to sign up for the Global 2000. Please make sure I get the list back. I'm going to back to help self.
I got it.
The next time I'll be here in Baltimore, when is that? I'll be July 25th at the Georgia Avenue Cafe in D.C. And when the next time I'm going to be in Baltimore, I don't know. Somebody in September. Any of those ones, they come on to the back.